Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino branches out and ranks every boss in the original Kingdom Hearts from easiest to hardest. Footage is taken from the 1.5 remix for PS3, but only contains bosses that were in the PS2 original because I felt like having arbitrary rules for this and it's more convenient. Also, I should mention there's no Destiny Islands fights because I wouldn't exactly call recreational beach activity an epic clash. Let's get in it. Number 1, Rock Titan. The Rock Titan is an embarrassment to itself and others, and the easiest boss in Kingdom Hearts. I love how you get a tech point every time you hit its leg as if you're employing some grand strategy to bring this creature down. The Rock Titan has 3 attacks, one of which is a minor foot adjustment where literally all it's doing is struggling to turn toward your general direction. The second is a body slam, creating a medium-sized shockwave that ripples 10 feet across the ground and fizzles out almost before it even gets to you. Once you're done hitting this guy's leg hella technically, he'll eventually topple over backwards and let you mountain climb up to his 2 heads, one of which does nothing but peripherally watch you bash the shit out of his other head, that in self-defense occasionally tries to neck slam you. But even when the boss gets up again, you can overstay your welcome on his shoulders and keep swatting at his gross little rocky neckheads until he dies or you fall off, at which point you repeat the cycle until he runs out of health or your X button breaks. Number 2, Darkseid. Darkseid shows up 3 times throughout the story, but I'm only giving him 1 slot in this list, and that is right here where he belongs. With few exceptions, the bigger the boss, the easier it is in Kingdom Hearts. Darkseid is in no big hurry to unleash any of his attacks, as he lethargically charges up fist slams with incredible landing lag and spurts dark chesticle orbs from his ripped abs. You get bonus points if you land combo finishers on his head, which gives you the false impression that tech points are a major mechanic in boss fights. As the first boss you encounter in this game, it is appropriately a breeze. Number 3, Genie Jafar. Oh hey, a big boss. As a big boss, Genie Jafar will do almost not a single thing to stop you from tearing up his lamp you can somehow hit without smashing Iago to a pulp. Being an all-powerful genie, Jafar has the amazing ability to rapidly solidify lava into a round ball shape and then throw it at you for minimal damage. When he's not doing that, he's just watching you defeat him, an activity he appears to find absolutely riveting. Number 4, Behemoth. Hot damn, could this be a big boss? Behemoth does, you guessed it, nothing. He's enthralled by the rippling color effects on the walls and floor and stares at them intently while you murder him. His weak spot is his horn, which is also mine. In the PS2 game, it used to have periods when it was charging with electricity and couldn't be attacked, but I guess a focus group of toddlers thought that was far too difficult of a mechanic to endure, and now you can hit that shit whenevs. After you knock his head to the ground and wail on it a few more combos, he will retaliate with a powerful crack-the-sky laser attack that does good damage, but as long as you can find time to heal yourself within 90 seconds till his next move, you'll be just fine. Number 5, Jafar. Finally, someone human-sized. Jafar is a pompous and arrogant little bitch, and it shows, but he absolutely wasted his second wish on trying to use Genie to crush us, because Genie ain't having it. He warns you when he's about to attack, and drops health orbs if he does manage to hit you. Jafar, on the other hand, is a cowardly little flying man who tries to glide backwards whenever you get close. You have to wonder if it's worth having a magical staff if it takes 5 full seconds to chant a spell that shoots an unmoving laser beam on a solitary location. He also does have a whirlwind blizzard storm spell that is visually impressive but functionally garbage. Simply don't stand in the middle of it and you'll dodge it exceptionally. When you finally swat this annoying little wasp out of the air, you'll feel real good about it. Number 6, Card Tower. After 12 or so playthroughs of a game you've had since childhood, sometimes you gotta mix it up. When the Queen sends you out to get evidence of Alice's innocence, I picked up 1 box, came right the hell back, and said, this'll be sufficient. Opening the evidence box revealed that Donald and Goofy were actually the ones who assaulted the Queen, and boy was I surprised to hear that. After freeing them from their subsequent dome cages, I found that the tower is quite frail, and the enemies who try to stop you from breaking it are quite swarmy, but it's nothing tough to handle. You can mostly focus on the tower and accidentally swipe away any soldiers who come at you. Number 7, Hercules. For an illegitimate child born of a god and some human hoe, Hercules is uncharacteristically braggadocious in this game. As soon as the fight starts, the first thing out of his mouth is, "Hey, give up yet?" "Yeah, dude, I surrender. The sight of your biceps is making me weak in the knees." Perhaps the daftest opponent in Kingdom Hearts, Hercules never seems to learn that getting hit in the head with a barrel temporarily renders him mortal, a mechanic that makes sense and begs no questions. It's never down for long, though. You can escape his spinning attack by guarding whenever he comes near you. Otherwise, the fight consists of large periods of downtime when you can go throw a wooden invincibility nullifying barrel at a demigod and knock him out. Enjoy! Number 8, Oogie Boogie. Oogie is a gambling man, and the values of the dice he throws dictate what completely ineffectual trap he's going to trigger at you next. Whether it's a buzzsaw that does no damage, or bouncing scythe blades that do no damage, you can be sure that luck plays no role in this fight at all. After a while, stepping on the glowing button in front of him causes the panel to raise so you can actually get up there and start the beatdown, but as if he has some self-preservation instincts, he knocks you back down after a short time. Being that Oogie Boogie is a living, breathing, actual sack of shit, he doesn't have much health and goes down quickly. Number 9, Ursula. Do you have the fire spell mapped to your L1 triangle button? Then you win! Ursula likes to do lengthy spins around the arena that somehow don't end with her vomiting uncontrollably, while her eel minions serve as weak distractions. All you have to do is spam magic on Ursula's cauldron, and the ensuing chemical, if you can call it that, reaction will knock that bitch out. You can then wham and bam on her unconscious body, but the experience doesn't really warrant a thank you ma'am afterwards. You'll have to do that a few times, but it never gets any harder. Number 10, Opposite Armor. I think Opposite Armor is easier than the original Guard Armor because it spends more time preparing attacks that are less effective at killing you. This is a hidden, obscure little bit of trivia for you, but it's actually called the Opposite Armor because its feet are where its hands should be, and its hands are where its feet should be. Isn't that fucking insane? Its body spends an awful lot of attackable time repeatedly charging up a laser bubble that can be easily blocked, and then followed with multiple combos. Surprisingly, he's the more passive of the two armor bosses. Number 11, Guard Armor. Man, Guard Armor is like the Opposite Armor, only not opposite. Your first non-islands Awake boss, Guard Armor introduces the concept of fighting with your party of not quite useless allies. Sure, they don't really do damage, but they provide the unseen benefit of multiple targets to split up the enemy's assault. You'll probably need a potion, because unlike the Opposite Armor, Guard Armor's attacks regularly connect, and you probably don't have Guard yet. Or scan for that matter. It's real frustrating not knowing what your enemy's health is. They could be 1 or 12 hits away from death, and that puts a dampener on your instincts. Just bust up all the limbs until nothing remains. Number 12, Sabor. Sabor! Danger! Not really. I think they nerfed him in the remix. I don't remember him being so frail or easy to predict. Even when he disappears into the brush, you no longer lose the lock-on, so his predator advantages are basically zero. He really only maintains this spot on the list for posterity's sake. I remember him as better than this, and do not wish to tarnish his memory. Somebody told me Sabor is a girl. Like, right, next you're gonna tell me Turk is. This joke will now dictate half the comment section. Was it worth it? Ask me later. Number 13, Cave of Wonders Head. The object of the Cave of Wonders boss fight is to maintain footing on the beast's nose and attack both eyes until you break the darkness out of them. The head will do its damnedest to shake you off, but it's possible to stay up there the whole time if you're careful. If you do get knocked off, your method of re-entry is when the head starts furiously burying its nose and mouth in the sand in a move that would put a forlorn expression on any dissatisfied girlfriend's face. When it comes up for air, it spits out Mob Heartless, but these enemies play almost absolutely no role in this fight at all unless you feel like farming them for no reason. Just permanently blind the tiger and you win. Number 14, Clayton. Apparently Clayton has been itching to shoot something in the jungle for so long he don't even care if it's a 14-year-old boy. This battle can be easy or easy but long, depending on how you want to do things. Wailing on Clayton's borderline defenseless body eventually triggers a cutscene where he gets on the back of an invisible stealth sneak, who is your real challenge in this. You can avoid most attacks by staying in the air as much as possible, and you'll soon knock Clayton off his mount, where you can decide to either quickly end him or destroy the sneak for some extra experience. I decided to quickly end him. Stealth sneaks in this game are glitched to where they can't be killed if they're doing their long-winded eye laser attack, even if they run out of health during it, which is stupid and annoying. And I've heard the PS4 version doesn't even fix it, because bugs are part of the game's original charm, right? Anyway, Clayton never really puts up a fight at all, so just treat him like the uncle who molested you until he stops breathing. Number 15, Dick Ship Head. I don't know its actual name, okay? All I know is it looks like a raw fleshy penis with teeth, eyes, and thunder spells. At least Goofy's here to help make it a threesome. As long as you're mildly gliding side to side as you pull off your combos, you can inherently dodge a lot of the boss's attacks, which are all the same attack, so get used to it. There's really nothing else to say about it, and I don't like looking at it, so let's move on. Number 16, Giant Ursula. We're still in easy territory with this list, so it makes sense this is a big boss. Ursula's larger and even uglier than before. My favorite part of this fight is her quips before she launches every attack she does. I love how she yells, "Get ready for this!" and then blows a few small bubbles like a little girl from a poor family. Other notable ones include, "This won't be pretty!" as she summons a curtain of lightning bolts. It's like we know it ain't gonna be pretty, it's related to you. Burn! Another move has her trying to inhale you, and you can choose to mermaid kick your way out of it, or what I do is just tank the damage because it's not very much and why waste the time? Eventually you'll cause enough head trauma to her double chins and defeat her. Number 17, Oogie Manor. It's a weird coincidence because whenever I'm beaten in battle, I also become my whole house. I actually learned a lot about this platforming exercise I didn't previously know this time around. Like, you get a bunch of XP for attacking the flaming lanterns scattered around, and Oogie Boogie's fat face can spurt dark magic at you that does damage over time and is surprisingly deadly. Your biggest obstacle in this encounter, though, is going to be landing on things that are higher than the thing you previously landed on. Expect a lot of accidental ledge grabs and also just tilting so much that you start going backwards. There's a case to be made for completing Neverland first before you come here, so you can glide straight from the initial bridge to wherever you want to go. Your goal, I've yet to talk about for some reason, is to destroy all the purple boils located around the area. They shoot the occasional beam, but you'll accidentally deflect it with your combo most of the time anyway. Get proactive on all the zits and you'll come away victorious. Number 18, Maleficent. This is a classic example of all bark, no bite. Maleficent has the only meteor attack in my boss ranking videos I'm not scared of. Sure, it looks badass, but you can easily guard the 2 or 3 that are on track to hit you or just run and hide. She puts way too much faith in her floating platform that can either be knocked down with enough Keyblade damage or just gravity spelled to oblivion. When you're in range to do damage to her, she has no response whatsoever, just until she decides to fly away on her Nimbus rock that you'll immediately bring down again. Sometimes she'll summon Defender Heartless that are really good at not helping. This is an easy fight. Number 19, Final Ansem. There are only 2 types of Ansem fights in this game, and so they will only get 2 slots on this list. The easiest version of him is weirdly the last one. You can button mash here with absolutely reckless abandon. He doesn't move, and any attack he does can be brute force comboed against with no fear of taking any dangerous amount of damage. He spends an awful long time preparing this magic spell that slowly drains your MP, but you barely need to heal anyway. I just wish the experience you gained from this series of fights could be kept intact rather than getting deleted as you respawn back at the save point with no progress maintained. That's a lame decision. Number 20, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. This is another set of bosses that caught a nerf with the remix, whose place I'm holding for posterity. Their health and damage has been noticeably reduced, and they've gone from being a serious threat to just literally toddlers running around. It doesn't really matter which ones you kill first, although I find Barrel to be the most annoying. Kid's got some combos. As much as I hate children, especially bad children, I do enjoy knocking these ones around a bit, but unfortunately it's just proof that domestic violence doesn't dissuade naughty behavior. Hear that, dads with belts? All 3 of these monsters are gonna grow up to be serial killers, and it's all your fault. Their sprees will culminate with the target of their initial rage, and that's you, baby. Hope you got a big belt to defend yourself. Number 21, Pot Centipede. The Pot Centipede is a boss that after years and years of play, I still never really worked out any kind of strategy to beat. I kinda just attack whichever side of him is nearby and fight through the stinging pain. Maybe if I was on Proud mode, I'd feel differently, which is why when I do my Kingdom Hearts 2 boss ranking, I'll be doing it on critical mode. Anyway, the Pot Centipede just wanders around herding invincible pot spiders, and you have to attack the head or ass until they split up. The ass seems most vulnerable, but the head is only really dangerous when its antennas start glowing and he spins into you. Best to just keep your distance at that point until he stops. I feel so bad for Jasmine, who has to share a pot with a giant spider. That must have been inconsolably traumatic. Number 22, Hades. Ignore the terrible damage I do, I was level 48 at the time, but Hades is an easy enough boss that you can tackle him at any level. He spends a lot of time saying, "That all you got?" while you're kicking his ass. When he's blue, he'll do a constant flamethrower attack that seems to not even have a hitbox because you can jump right in the middle of it and attack him till he stops. Eventually, after a few combos, he'll walk to the middle of the stage and unleash awesome pillars of fire that rotate across the arena. Donald and Goofy are superbly bad at avoiding this attack. He's a tricky one because sometimes he'll start that going one direction, but then quickly change direction to try and catch you off guard, after which he remains red and starts doing angrier attacks at you, like throwing a fireball you can knock back at him to stun him, even though he is made of fire and absorbs your normal fire spells. Hell if I know, man. If you're as weak as me, you can look forward to repeating these steps for the next 10 minutes. Number 23, Trickmaster. The biggest obstacle here is just trying to reach the damn dude. I don't know if the Jungle King Keyblade would help here, and therefore you should go to Deep Jungle beforehand, but with the Kingdom Key, you'll have to jump on chairs and tables to get an access point to this boss's papier-mâché crotch. In fairness, he does stagger easily and drop HP balls in the process, but eventually the fight will get more complicated as the Trickmaster starts launching non-stop flame spells and smashing the table and chair to pieces. Without guard, deflecting the fire spells is tough to get a handle on, as the remix exclusive Slapshot ability can either enhance or ruin your timing. But any boss that does good damage before you get the cure spell is made that much more difficult, so I maintain the Trickmaster's position in this list. Number 24, Leon and Yuffie. Any boss that also has a paired boss encounter only gets a list slot for that paired encounter. Therefore, you'll be seeing Leon and Yuffie and Leon and Cloud spots only, and not solo Yuffie, solo Cloud, or solo Leon. Anyway, Yuffie is the initial target here because she's weaker and a ranged attacker and much more attractive than Leon in my opinion. She likes to throw the tiniest shurikens I've ever seen, as slow as I've ever seen them thrown, and deflecting them will occasionally stun her. Mostly you just want to chase her down until she's dead because she'll occasionally try to heal, while ignoring Leon entirely. Once Yuffie is dealt with, you can focus on the man with a gun blade that never actually shoots the gun part. Leon is very prematurely cocky. Every time he does his leaping attack, he says, "It's over!" Like that shit's gonna one-shot me, please. Comboing his back guarantees that you knock him away, and guarding his fire spell is always a fun time. Soon he'll use an empty phantasm shell to coat his weapon in magic, which gives him increased range and damage, but he's still the same attack patterns, just more glowy. Number 25, Parasite Cage. This is the second one. The first one has no poison attacks, and Riku's there to not really help you, but this boss fight's success is dependent heavily on your timing. There's a specific rhythm you can maintain in order to deflect every attack the Parasite Cage throws at you with your own attacks. It can be hard to achieve, but it's worth it. Rather than attack the head, bashing the cage stomach will eventually cause the Parasite to stun, where you should beat up the gross little blob in the center until the Parasite Cage gives himself an appendectomy and fixes it. Afterwards, just rinse and repeat, and in my case I defeated him before he even got to do his DOT poison belch. Number 26, Chernabog. For like the last 10 years, I could have sworn his name was Aragog, but I realized after looking it up just now that that's a giant spider in Harry Potter, and also I will never Google anything again. Chernabog's threat level has gone down with the introduction of the Leaf Bracer ability in the remix, which makes you unable to die or be interrupted when casting Cure. Basically, you can just stand in his Pillar of Fire and heal with no repercussions. I tried not to do that and judge him based on non-cheesy things. I was about level 60 when I killed him, and it seemed to be pretty straightforward. The wind attack knocking me back I remember as a kid almost never happened, and he only really did the Flame Pillar move 3 or 4 times, opting instead for the easy-to-take advantage of Fire Breath. It's still a great cinematic encounter, though. If you're the type to equip specific accessories before certain boss fights, which I'm not, you'll want fire defense boosts galore, I'd assume. Number 27, Beach Crater Ansem. Your second Ansem encounter, Beach Crater Ansem, is an evolution of the lesser Beach Ansem, and has gained a few new things. His full-speed ramming attack is fun to block, but even more fun to get hit by repeatedly because you're spamming square at the wrong time. When he glows in the middle of the arena, his mini Darkside Heartless pops out of the ground multiple times in a row, but well-timed dodge rolls or just running in a direction can evade the hits. They culminate in a 4-cross lightning barrage that you can just walk right into, it's fine. Do yourself a favor and don't get hit by the submit attack. It randomly turns your attack option into a freeze option, which makes Ansem's Darkside Heartless grope you in midair and cause a lot of emotional problems that will end with you pointing to inappropriate body parts on a doll. Number 28, Captain Hook. I remember when I was 8, I spent literally an hour on one attempt of this fight because all I did was wait for him to jump off the boat and float back up, where he could be air comboed once, and then I repeated that because I was a cheap asshole. Now that I am a grown-up and not scared of cartoon villains, Hook can be easily overpowered just by hovering as close as possible to the ground and air comboing him continuously. Air combos come out faster than ground ones, even with the new Slapshot ability, and you're more likely to block his counterattacks that way. Whenever he says, "Come and get it," he's going to block your next hit, and then do a super slow follow-up attack you can easily glide away from. Also worth noting that if you fire spell him, he has to adjust his pantaloons for a second, and it leaves him quite vulnerable. All in all, Captain Hook is pretty fast, but his moves are weak enough you won't mind tanking them and then just going away to heal every so often. Number 29, Cloud and Leon. At this stage, Cloud combos his Sonic Blade attack a lot longer if you don't block it, but if you have the counterattack ability equipped and a Keyblade that's difficult to deflect like the Olympia or Divine Rose, you can mash your way through the whole strategy aspect and just keep hitting him endlessly. Leon will try and stop you, but you just straight up ignore him while you take out Cloud first. Just walk up to him and start swinging. If he doesn't attack, keep swinging. If he just stands there guarding, keep swinging. If you get invited to a couple's orgy, keep swinging. Eventually, Cloud will start radiating electricity and fly around the map, attacking you from behind and bypassing your guard. You can dodge roll at the right time, or just watch as he kills your friends. In fact, Cloud seems to like killing your friends so much that he'll attack them even when they're already dead. He's a sadist, this one. Leon's the same Leon as always, but this is my first run of the Hades Cup in the late 40s and thus I do no damage. Rest assured that my level doesn't factor into my decisions. I fought everyone here a dozen times in my life and I know the discrepancies. Number 30, Anti-Sora. Anti-Sora is like regular Sora, only way stronger and can do combo finishers without doing any combo starters. None of his attacks can be deflected. That is to say, you can guard them, but he won't stagger from it. Let's just be glad this isn't the Anti-Sora from Kingdom Hearts 2, the one we can turn into. That one would have combos until the sun went down and came up the next morning. Anyway, this Anti-Sora has some tricks. He can melt into the ground and spawn decoys of himself that disappear when hit, but if you pick too many of the wrong ones, he'll just do it again immediately. Unfortunately, Anti-Sora is yet another boss whose formidability took a hit with a nerf, allegedly, as he has this one attack where he vanishes and swipes up from the ground, and he used to do that upwards of 5 or 6 times in a row without being hittable, but now I never saw him do it more than 3 in a row. It was the most dangerous and unpredictable segment of the boss, especially if you're low on MP, and now it's just another little distraction. For shame. Anti-Sora isn't very bulky given how late in the game you fight him, but all his moves exist to lengthen his otherwise short life. Number 31, Cerberus. Maybe this is a me thing, based on my stiff order of operations whenever I start a new playthrough of this game. I always go right from Traverse Town to Olympus Coliseum to get the Thunder Spell mapped neatly to my L1 square, and then I beat the first iteration of Cloud and Cerberus. I'm pretty sure the entirety of Olympus Coliseum is optional, so you could come beat Cerberus at any point later in the game, but I always just go for it right at the beginning. And I win, but it's long and painful. I don't have scan or guard still at this point. Cerberus is probably the most intimidating boss in the game for where you're at. He walks around and shoots fireballs that are worth a good amount of XP to deflect, and they do a bit of damage back at him. But he fires so many of them in quick succession, you might get overwhelmed. After a while, he'll plant himself firmly in a location and roar, and then it's time for the main part of the battle. Cerberus will bite with all 3 heads simultaneously over and over again, taking little breaks to attack with one head, and that's the head you want to deflect, to stun him for a couple seconds. You can stand off to the side because he won't track you, and just get a quick hit in after every volley of head attacks if you want to speed the process up. After you lower his health enough, he'll start to throw up darkness into the ground that manifests itself as small geysers of dark purple. If you dodge roll on the offbeats in time with the rhythm, you'll make it out scot-free, but annoyingly Cerberus will also shoot fireballs at you sometimes because he's a dick. Just keep waiting for the biting onslaught and take your opportunities. Number 32, Riku. Ansem is inside Riku, and making him do some nasty things. This is the only Riku battle I'm putting in the list, because the other one before this is barely anything at all. You gotta go solo for this one, but it ain't no thing. Riku's attacks are mildly predictable and easily deflected, and Slapshot makes it so you can actually go for a second combo after your first one staggers him, and you'll usually auto-deflect his spinning counterattack. After you bully him for a while, he'll start to turn it up and get shockwaves that come out of his regular attacks that you can also deflect right back at him. Nothing this guy does works. I feel sorry for him. His best series of dashes can be glided over in the biggest middle finger to an ultimate attack I've ever seen. Although if the lightning at the end clips you, it's no big deal. Riku could really benefit from an extra health bar, but then who wouldn't? Number 33, Dragon Maleficent. Much more imposing than regular Maleficent. The trouble with always having to air combo a boss whose weak point is above the ground is there's no way to reaction guard any of her biting attacks. But that's not really the problem anyway. The problem is her damn cool looking green fire. Whenever she coats the area in front of her with flame, run to her ass and wait for her to notice. You don't want to be landing in a pool of fire after every combo you do. You can get on her back, but there's literally no point in doing that. Her biggest deal is when she summons a dozen smaller fireballs that waywardly float towards and away from you like indecisive spirits, making deflection timing very difficult. You're probably going to have to heal a lot in this fight, so if you're having trouble, I suggest summoning Tinkerbell, because she never goes away and heals you intermittently. Keep whacking Maleficent's head until she leaves behind nothing but her cloak that is somehow still intact after having transformed into a giant dragon. Number 34, Kurt Ziza. Optional hidden boss Kurt Ziza starts off the fight by silencing all your magic and summon power, and it will remain silent until you destroy the 2 dark orbs on his hands. They drop HP balls when you kill him, and it's not too taxing of an endeavor. You'll just want to back up when Kurt's kopeshes start spinning like helicopter blades. Break both orbs and you'll render Ziza stunned for a good long time, where you must beat the shit out of his snaky little face for longer than you deserve, probably. It'll try to lash out at you occasionally, but as with most attacks, you'll usually auto-deflect it in the middle of your combo. I'm in the late 60s here and am doing a lot more damage than I thought I would. After he gets up, he'll put a physical resistant bubble around him that can only be damaged by magic attacks. Gravity seems to be the strongest option here, though I assume you can use summons to speed this process along. If you ever run out of NP, hitting Ziza with your Keyblade will make his shield drop MP orbs, which is a major design flaw in my opinion. Really counterproductive to the goal of the boss. During this phase, he will summon rings of sand tornadoes, as well as glowing projectiles that quickly pop out of the ground and zero in on you. Dodge roll timing is the key to any situation. Break his shield and you'll render his body unconscious again, but for much less time, after which the process starts over again with the orbs. If you're in a health jam during that segment, I found that if you use Trinity Limit on the orbs, it'll miss completely. So that's cool. Stun him again and finish it this time. Number 35, Phantom. I really hate bosses that require you to change your entire build, no matter what game it's in. The Phantom demands you be as magic-oriented as heavenly possible. That means equipping anything that raises your max MP and magic power, using the Diamond Dust or Lady Luck Keyblade for the huge magic boost, and you'll want to increase your dark defense too if you can. Customize your magic quick select by putting Stop, Arrow, and Cure in there, and get used to rifling through your long magic menu to select the specific spells necessary to deal damage to this fucking asshole. I beat the Phantom right after Kurt Ziza, so I was level 68, which seems to be too low, but I made it work very painfully. As soon as the fight starts, the Phantom goes and incantations the clock tower, putting a timer on the lifespan of one of your party members. If the number reaches 0, they are knocked out and cannot be revived, so you have to intermittently cast Stop on the clock tower throughout the whole fight. I hope you have elixirs stuffed up the wazoo, because you're going to need all of them. At first I thought after you casted Stop the first time, you had to wait until the number started counting down again for a second stop to have any effect. That is absolutely not the case. A good timing to it is to cast Stop on the clock tower every 2 times the Phantom hovers over there and launches his Dark Comet tail at you. An attack that either does hella damage or no damage depending on circumstances I do not understand. Aeroga deflects the spell entirely 100% of the time, but I didn't find all the Dalmatian puppies because I'm a monster, so Aurora had to do and was giving me mixed results. There was one time when the Dark Orb flew at me that I spun around in place beneath it and it missed me completely, so maybe explore that. Anyway, the color of the Phantom's big electric testicle depicts the spell you need to use to do damage to him. Red is fire, blue is blizzard, yellow is thunder, and white is 3 physical attacks that your gung-ho party members will waste with their shitty blunt damage before you can get close enough. Your dagger does nothing, Peter Pan, back the hell up! I should have let you get timed out instead of keeping you at 1 for 10 minutes. This battle is long and stupid and I hate it, and I'm glad you can't redo it, even though my level 100 character would have mopped the entire tower with the Phantom's discolored fucking cloak. Number 36, Ice Titan. The Ice Titan can be a great farming method if you have a lot of tech boost abilities equipped. All the damage you do to this boss is on account of deflecting his icicles back at him. Especially in the mid-60s, your physical attacks you get to do after stunning him have almost no effect. It's all about pelting him with his own essence. Using Guard as a combo starter in tandem with Slapshot is the best way to reflect the most pellets, but it takes a lot of practice that I did not have to do it successfully. The Ice Titan has a bevy of different attacks that can't be deflected back at him, so you'll have to slog through those to get the ones you need, and as he loses more and more health, he combines all these attacks more frequently. The Ice Titan is the best example boss in this game of real-time strategy progression. The more the Ice Titan gets hit, the more he turns up the heat, so to speak, to wreck your life, unveiling one move after another and compounding them upon each other. It's pretty cool to think about from a technical standpoint. Just keep deflecting them icicles to take them out. Number 37, Sephiroth. The hardest boss in the original Kingdom Hearts is Sephiroth. Did Albino finally pick a top spot that people actually agree with? It's simply inarguable. He's meant to be the hardest, and he is the hardest. Fighting him requires intimate knowledge of his range and attack patterns. I beat him at level 70 with a bunch of strength and defense enhancing equipment that certainly made the difference between life and death. Don't be ashamed to use equipment. I always used to do no equipment runs on principle, even in my child years, just because I didn't like relying on them. And maybe that makes me a badass, but I have seen the light and equipment is great, especially if you're trying to make a boss ranking video. Anytime Sephiroth does a little hop towards you, do a combo and back off. Make sure you don't have any combo plus abilities on, or else he'll teleport behind you in the middle. As you fight, you'll notice when he tends to do his erupting flame attack so you can avoid it before it happens. After a health bar has been taken from him, he'll start running towards you, fast. but his patterns are still the same. If he teleports behind you, dodge roll toward him at the right moment and hit him before he can do something else. You need Super Glide for this, by the way, because now Sephiroth will start using his Sin Harvest attack, which, if allowed to be completed, insta-kills you and takes all your MP. Of course, if you have second chance, you'll live, but you'll need an elixir to have any chance of staying in the fight. Fly at him like a kamikaze pilot and ruin his life before he finishes. Halfway through the fight, Sephiroth will incorporate more magic into his attacks, and it's gonna get pretty hectic and annoying, but maintain your cool and block when you're supposed to block, and counterattack and dodge roll and super glide when you're supposed to counterattack and dodge roll and super glide, and you can make it out of this. The move most likely to kill you is when he says, "Prepare yourself." I don't know what he sounds, and starts his massive combo attack, where every third strike he shifts behind you to reach around your guard. Guard the second hit if you can, and then time your other guards properly to not die. Easier said than done, trust me, I know. But if you really need it, you can use the Leaf Bracer ability and literally just stand there in the middle of it and heal. I try not to abuse that mechanic because it doesn't stay true to the original game, but sometimes I recognize you need it to live. Anyway, that's going to do it for this Kingdom Hearts boss ranking. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel so free to like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other boss ranking videos I've done for Souls games and Neo. Stick around for my Kingdom Hearts 2 boss ranking I'll be doing eventually, and I'll see you guys next time.